there was one part where the orchestra was so brassy and so big and loud, where I was like counting them in 1, 2, 3, 4, and they hit this note that was so loud I dropped the baton. It scared me.
Salsa cereal. I had a moment. I had a moment where I had some chips, and I could not allow myself to do it. Couldn't
get there.
No, mentally, it's a hurdle, man.
It's really not. I sent you some links.
You know what? Some links of what?
Of that it's a thing. People do it. Like it's a. Google salsa cereal. We pop up a bunch of videos all over TikTok and the internet and everything else. It's not new. I didn't invent it. I didn't know it existed, but it's of course it's out there.
Welcome to Defined. I'm your host, Rick Sakowski.
And we're back. Here we go. I'm Eric Yocklin. Yeah.
So Jamie Christopherson is going to be our guest today. He knew me, we'll say with me first, from the college days. He was at the University of Miami when I was at some podunk film school in Miami. And we worked on a film together. He's a composer. And the why we wanted him kind of quickly after the India project is because if you remember when I went to Goa and I bought a DVD, it was a bootleg DVD. It was the one that Jamie got his first movie credit in the Johnny Depp Blow movie. So, but he's also got a bunch of projects coming out this year that I want to talk about. He's done, what's interesting is he's only really done two projects with us. He does a lot of video games that we all know too. So I want to get into that. Like it's a fascinating thing because, and I'm going to sound so dumb talking about this. Is what ignorant people, when they talk about things that like, my kids probably don't even realize this. Like when you're walking and all of a sudden like a bad guy comes in and the music changes, like it has to flow. It can't just be like a cut, a hard cut to new music stuff. I want to figure out all that out. I want to talk to him about all that.
From the gaming perspective.
Yeah. Like how do you,
Yeah, but he's not programming the game.
No, he's not programming the game, but how do you do them?
But
Siri doesn't understand.
That makes sense. That makes all of us.
Yeah.
While we are waiting for Jamie to join, I will just say go blue. I wore my Michigan gear today because Michigan basketball has been kicking ass.
Are they playing state today?
Yeah, they played yesterday and they already beat them 12.
Oh, dude, they look good this year. Except
They're
that
great.
Cohen guy, which I send you a bunch of
at state
TikToks. That guy,
yeah, he's a monster. He's a
he
beast.
is. The dunks that this guy is doing.
Yeah.
Jeez, Pete.
Yeah, it's he's got a huge vertical, but he moves fast. Like I was trying to think of a comparison, even like Blake Griffin, who was like a monster.
Fucking headphones.
Guess we didn't get the new ones, did we? How many times do you think we're going to mention this on the podcast?
Yeah, these are the new ones.
These aren't the new ones. That's
Go
a lie.
ahead.
That's a lie.
Dude, you are so out of sync right now to me.
Good thing you got your glasses on. That's deceit. It's not your new pair of glasses.
But why are you out of sync? Hold on, I got to take these off and pack on. Hold on. Fuck.
Clickety-click.
Good, Jamie's coming in. Hold on.
Clickety-click. Fix your audio before you let him in.
You ready?
Ebb and flow. Here we go.
Look at this guy.
Oh,
Look at this guy.
Oh, there he is. All right,
Jamie, how you doing, first of all?
I'm all right. How are you doing? You snowed in still, or what's going on?
No, and I gotta on the podcast. I gotta publicly apologize for canceling last week. We obviously losing power and all that.
Whatever. Only half the country.
No, it actually wasn't that horrible. Ours was more of there was like a transformer that went down and it blew like some of our electrical stuff out. So whatever.
It doesn't look like you're wearing winter gear right now.
Oh, it's like 80 degrees here, and it's ridiculous. It's summer again.
Jamie, we kind of gave an intro for you. A couple episodes ago, we told the story of how I went to India and I bought a bootleg DVD. Did I ever tell you this story?
I don't think so. No, I want to hear it.
Yeah, so I bought this bootleg DVD, for this movie, and as soon as I say the movie, you'll know why I bought that one, is the movie Blow. And the only reason I bought it, and it was bootleg, where like people's heads are popping up, talking and stuff. And the only reason I bought it is to see your name in credits.
Nice, thank you.
So I love that. Thank you for buying the bootleg.
I think that is my first like kind of Hollywood credit, right? I guess.
Yeah.
Some of them. Besides, what was that film that we did in Miami?
Pure.
Pure, yeah.
So let's start there. And Eric's just going to jump in and stuff. Well, actually, why don't we do this? Jamie, I couldn't even go through all the titles of what you've done. Like, what are some of the things you've done in the video game space, some of the films you've done, just to give the audience kind of a background on you?
Yeah, okay. So I guess I'm most well known for a video game called Metal Gear Rising, which kind of came out of the... when I say out of the blue, it kind of fell into my lap in a way that I was around, doing video game music for a long time. And I was kind of in a building and with a bunch of sound designers, and they were doing a trailer for Metal Gear with sound design. And they were like, oh, can you just like maybe do some music for the trailer? And it turned out to be like heavy metal kind of rock vibe that they wanted. And I'd done a little bit of that, but I'd never really done heavy metal. So, of course, what does anyone say when they, oh, can you do this? Yeah, of course. And then you go figure it out. Learn on the job. Anyway, so I guess they liked what I did in that trailer, and then it turned into the game. So, yeah, so I'm most well known for, that game.
And then in the film world, you had some Netflix hits.
Yeah, we have a few number one, like, Christmas movies on Netflix. One was called California Christmas, and California Christmas 2, and what else?
Forgive me for not remembering the name. Give me a second, I can get it. But I was working with Ludacris at the time that you were scoring a movie that he was in.
Yes. Oh, that's right. Ride it's called.
Ride. Yep.
Yeah, which is about a true story, based on a true story about a kid growing up like in the slums of the UK or whatever, and he turns to BMX biking to kind of rise himself up out of a bad situation. And Lucas is in it, yeah.
Are we allowed to talk about what my wife is going crazy over?
Yes. So I just finished scoring the Scorpions movie called Wind of Change. And really
that is going to be... How is it, first of all?
I think it's great. I think I'm really in love with it. It's funny. You might not know this about me. We're getting ahead of ourselves here, but I grew up in 3 years in Germany when I was growing up. Did you know that? Oh,
yeah.
Well, there you go. I'm not going to tell the story then. Anyway, I'm joking. So I grew up 3 years in Germany. My stepfather was in the army as a doctor, so we lived on the base in Frankfurt, or I went to school on the base, and we lived nearby there. I was like 10 or 12. This is like right in the heart of the USSR kind of Cold War. So this must have been like 1985, 86, somewhere in there. And so one day, like, we took a field trip, and I didn't really know where we were going, but we ended up at Checkpoint Charlie and going through the wall, through Checkpoint Charlie into East Berlin, like, through the wall, whatever, and which plays a big part in this movie. So like half this movie about Scorpions, because it's all about that time period of history, and so it's fun that I was there for that time period, and now I'm getting to score a movie based on it.
And we skipped over Scorpion.
Yeah.
Who are they? What are they?
Who's Scorpion? Yeah, Eric doesn't know who Scorpion is.
The Scorpions are a big band, a German rock band from back in that time period, but they're still playing today. I mean, they're massive around the world, and their biggest hit, I guess, is like "Rock You Like a Hurricane" and "Wind of Change," which is kind of
Wind of Change,
an anthem for the end of the Cold War.
We'll get into all that again, but let's kind of rewind.
Yeah.
Yeah, do you got any sound effects for rewinding, Jamie?
We started off. We just went through so many things, because like our history goes way back too. Like you and I, back to in Miami. So maybe let's go back there. And
Yeah. I remember the first time meeting you guys. So you've got to imagine this is late 1990s.
1999.
Yeah.
98.
And
yeah.
and you and Jeff, and it's funny because we were talking about it's hard for me because like especially when we all used to hang out in Miami, it was Jeff and Jamie, so it's hard to separate that you guys are two different, you know, you went on
Not
two
one
different
entity.
paths and, no, but but it's always Jeff and Jamie. But even Jamie, like we'll text her or whatever, you're like, oh, I was with Jeff last night or whatever. Like so, anytime or like when I was when we saw each other in LA last, I text Jeff. I'm like, you should have came. What you bum? And so it's hard. It's in my head. It's always Jeff and Jamie. But it's like you guys are two separate paths and careers, which I kind of want to get to. But when we first met, you guys were phenomenal and still are phenomenal musicians. That is like the things that you guys were doing just musically was unbelievable. But then you guys were also kind of tech heads. Like I remember going to your I guess it was your apartment.
Yeah.
And you had like the VHS deck connected through time code to your computer so that you could see the movie up on the screen while you're scoring. You could rewind it and everything sunk up. It was like I was blown away by that.
Yeah, that was right before QuickTime kind of came in. So we would have to put in a VHS, and then there was Audible SMPTE time code. So you would run like the audio from that into our clacker device, and then that would run like our sequencer. So when you hit play on the VHS, it would take like 2 or 3 seconds for the SMPTE to line up. And then when you wanted to stop it, you stop the VHS. And yeah, it was kind of craziness, but that's how it worked back then.
We met on this movie called Pure.
Yeah.
And this is kind of one of the things that, and Eric will appreciate this, why I wanted to do this podcast is these are the moments that I love. Like, we weren't getting paid.
Right.
Like, I mean, I don't maybe there was some money exchange. I don't believe there was, but it was this kind of promise that you're going to have this film. Then the hours were crazy. We were editing at night. You guys were working weekends and stuff.
Yeah.
But it was also one of these things where like you just figured out a way to do it. Like we didn't know what we were doing.
Yeah.
You know, and we just did it. And then I got to meet people like you, and we started to hang out. So it's hard to talk bad about that experience when all the good that came out of it.
Yeah.
Do you see it that way?
Real quick, I want to understand. When you say you would have that film, are you talking about for credits? Like you would,
that's all. That's all
So
people could offer back then, right?
Got
Like
it.
when you don't have money, you're like, oh, but and every stupid director out there or producer that doesn't have money says the same thing. This is going to look good on your resume,
Right.
and you know this is once this takes off, and it's like nothing takes off.
Exactly. Credit and you get a sandwich here and there.
How did you get brought into that?
That is a fun story. Is our professor was offered the job, Raul Luciano, who used to be with the Miami Sound Machine. So he was, I guess, offered the job, and it didn't pay. So he's like, oh, maybe I could get one of my students to, be interested. So that's how he just came to Jeff and myself and said, "You guys want to do it?" And we were like, "Hell yeah, let's do it." So that was our first experience actually working with the director. And then how did you come into it?
I think I lost a bet.
To Jeff.
I honestly, no, I don't. I don't recall. I guarantee it was the same way where they were like try to get some professional, and they're like, no, but maybe this kid will do it. But I do remember when I first met you and Jeff, how nervous I was to meet you. I wasn't nervous to meet the director or anything. I was nervous to meet you guys.
How come?
You guys
we're
like
the students at the same time.
But you guys had like demo tapes and stuff, and like I tell Jeff all the time, like I would listen to your guys' music back then and just be blown away. You guys were very, at least back then, it was kind of reminding of like almost like Hans Zimmer.
Okay.
So can you talk about that in terms of so in school and being in school, did you specifically go for the composition to for film and video or whatnot, and what was that journey from musician schooling and into being able to create demos and actually work on projects?
This was in University of Miami, the Frost School of Music. So before that, I had gotten my undergraduate from a place called Vassar. I grew up in LA and I moved to Vassar, and which was liberal arts, so I learned how to do classical music there and all that kind of formal kind of music training. Played in jazz gigs and rock bands on the side, but when I got out of there, like I still had no idea really about the music business or how to score film, which is really what I wanted to get into. So I felt like I wasn't quite ready. So I did, move back to LA for the summers, and I got some internships at some studios and with a composer as well. So he offered me a spot, but I was like, nah, I really feel like I want to go to this program. And it turned out to be a great program that was very hands-on and kind of threw you into the fire and treated it like the working, conditions kind of. So like Hollywood would be. So we learned real world stuff, and we learned a lot of engineering. They have a big engineering department, so we would go in and actually work with musicians, record them on songs and score stuff. It was great.
Do you know Shelley Berg?
I know the name.
He ran Frost School of Music probably after, it was way after you left. And Eric, you know him because anytime when we did the An Evening with Dave Grusin, Shelley Berg brought some Frost School of Music people there. Like the Frost School of Music it's a big deal.
Definitely.
Can we go back to your inspiration of knowing that that's what you wanted to do? Has it been the kind of thing when you were young, when you were watching films, you were attracted toward that, or you like? I remember like through my career, and I didn't go down that path, but I used to collect. A lot of the CDs that I purchased were soundtracks, like scores and soundtracks for films and movies I used to love listening to. So I'm just curious about if that was the same, or what that path was for the inspiration.
Yeah, I think similar to you. I mean, I definitely was gravitating towards film music a lot, like Vangelis and Blade Runner, and Ennio Morricone is my favorite composer. And I actually, somehow my mom bought it or something, the soundtrack to The Mission. And I didn't see that movie until 10 years later or something like that. But I had the soundtrack, and it just blew my mind. It's still one of my favorite soundtracks. And so then I was like, wow, if film music can sound like this, and then I was like very drawn to that. And so I was in LA. So like I said my stepdad was a doctor, but he was also an actor, which is funny. So he had actor friends coming in and around. I went on sets once in a while. So I was around the Hollywood thing. Like sometimes some famous actors would come over to the house and things like that. And coincidentally, 2 doors down from me, I found out that the guy was a composer, and he was working out of his garage. And his name is David Schwartz. He's still working today. He was known mostly back then for Northern Exposure. So that was a big show at the time. And so I kind of went in and just kind of watched him work out of his studio. And I was like, and then he would take breaks and do like ping pong with the musicians. And I was like, you could just work out of your garage like that and make a living doing that. I'm like, yeah, that sounds great to me.
Sign me up.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite score?
Well, like I said, Ennio, probably The Mission is one of my favorites. Cinema Paradiso is my favorite movie and one of my favorite scores.
I've never seen that.
Oh, really? Oh, you got to see it.
I know.
Take your wife.
Tonight.
Take your wife, and they do them in screenings in cities a lot. So see if there's an art theater near you that does a screening once a year or something like that.
So just because you
Eric,
mentioned...
Well, hold on, Eric, because I'm dying to ask this question.
Okay.
What do you think of True Romance as a score?
I don't remember it maybe as much as I should.
That answers that.
It's xylophones, Hans Zimmer.
I do remember the movie. It's really violent, right?
Yeah, it's Tarantino. He wrote it.
I love Hans Zimmer scores for sure, but I just don't remember that one as much as some of the others.
Oh, it's so good.
We used to listen. We used to talk about soundtracks quite a bit when we were growing up, Rick. I'm just now remembering in terms of True Romance and having some of those always with us in the cars and stuff.
What are your guys' scores?
John Williams to me is probably the best to ever do it. Only because everything he's ever done is so iconic.
Yeah.
Jaws is iconic. I think Grusin. I like Goonies a lot. I think, and I had the privilege of working with him a couple times, so I got to tell him that he could give a shit less. I think.
Remind me of telling you my Grusin story on camera too. That'll be good.
Oh yeah, well tell it now. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't want to cut you off though from what you were saying.
Please interrupt. You're doing us a favor.
No, but okay. But yeah, it's so great that we both got to work with Grusin. You worked with him a lot more, but I went to Ubeda, Spain for a film music festival. I was invited there as a young composer too, so it was very fortunate to be invited there. And I was fortunate enough to be put on one of the concerts, one of their they had 2 or 3 nights of concerts, and I was on one of the bills, and anyway, I just found out that Dave Grusin was going to be there playing at that same night, and I just like kind of am starstruck because I loved the Firm score.
Oh, the Firm's great.
But so then I started to try and learn like the Firm soundtrack so I could like play it in a room when Dave was there or whatever, so he could overhear me. Like, such an idiot because like nobody can play like Dave. Number one, he's one of those like piano players where the second you hear him play, you know who it is. Anyway, I could not figure out how to play the fast pieces, so I just like abandoned.
Wait, did you know Memphis Stomp?
I later learned how to do that. Yes.
Okay, so that's my of his music. That is my favorite.
Okay.
And he did it live with us on an evening with Dave Grusin. Unbelievable. Actually, made me go back and rewatch The Firm just because of that sound, that song.
Yes.
So good.
So I was so thankful for being on a concert bill with him, but I was even more thankful that I didn't have to come after him. So I got to go first. Because there's no way anybody could follow Dave Grusin.
So did you know Larry Rosen?
No, not.
But they were partners.
Yeah,
right?
of course.
GRP Records.
Yeah.
So Eric and I started a company with Larry. That's why we got Grusin to do a couple things with us.
Nice.
So how was that experience? So like, did you have fun or?
And I got to hang out with him for like 2 or 3 days, and it was like he's such a warm person too, and like. So it was just one of my favorite experiences in life, like just to do that. But
so when you're there for the concert element, what is your role there? Like, so is part of your composition or part of your playing or part of like with an orchestra? Like, what are we talking about?
So it was like one of those intimate concert nights. So I played 3 pieces of music, I believe, that I wrote. So from scores. What else? Yeah, they're all from scores. There was a song from the Crow Wicked Prayer that I had written, and I learned actually how to play flamenco guitar. I'm not a great guitar player, but I studied with a flamenco guitar player for like 2 or 3 months to try and fake through it. Luckily, I had another flamenco guitarist join me on stage.
You know what I found throughout the years, Jamie, is any guitar player that's like, I'm not very good, is amazing. And the fact that you're just like, hey, I'm not very good. Like, you're doing this in concert. Like,
yeah, but that's the only song I learned. One song.
Okay.
Guitar.
I have a question, too. Yeah. Jamie, if you've watched any of our nonsense, we interrupt each other. So
yeah, that's good. I love it.
Throwing a lot at you, and there's no real flow going on here. So we're just going to jump around. But you sent me a photo of you. This is a while back. I don't know how long ago. You were conducting an orchestra in a big room.
Okay. Yeah.
Is that something you normally do? Is there a major difference between like what you do on a normal basis and then conducting?
I mean, that's one of my favorite things to do is conduct an orchestra. I didn't like know how to do that until I got this game called Lost Planet. So there was a Lost Planet 2. And they were like, "Oh, let's go bigger this time." I was like, "Hell yeah, let's do it!" Like, let's do. And I was fortunate that they hired Los Angeles Orchestra. We had like 100-piece orchestra, and so the good thing is I had about 4 months to prepare for that while I was writing, and so then I hired a conducting coach, and named Emer Noon, and she's an amazing conductor and teacher. And so she taught me how to be confident enough with these musicians. Now, I say that these musicians in LA are so good that really they could do it without a conductor. Like there's click tracks and things like that. You're just kind of guiding them in a way that's maybe in your head. But even if you weren't there, they would pull off something amazing. So it's a little bit of, just like me standing up on the podium and pretending that I'm doing something, but I love it. I love conducting an orchestra. There was one part where the orchestra was so brassy and so big and loud where I was like counting them in 1, 2, 3, 4, and they hit this note that was so loud I dropped the baton. It scared me.
They brought it. Hey, you told them to bring it. They brought it.
Bring it.
They brought it. The power that was coming out of them, it was a 100-piece orchestra, is just insane.
Wow.
I'm fascinated by this whole experience of video games. Start from the beginning.
Wait. Before we get, I mean, yeah, it's all part of it, but I'm very curious too, in terms of there and what your the orchestra that you're conducting. So this is music that you wrote, right?
Yeah, that's
and
why I want to get to. Yeah.
Okay, so then we'll go all the way back to how you're going to ask it, but I'm very curious about your writing, your creation of it, what you hear about it, but then the conversion to the orchestra
And do they bring something? Did you
right, all that,
rewrite
yeah.
music?
So then go ahead and bring it back to where you want to
I'm
start
gonna get
from.
some popcorn and then we'll sit back and listen. No, but Jamie, like, take us through it. So you get this gig. Well,
Yeah, well, we could just...
let's even take a step back because this is a question that's gonna like weigh on me until I ask it. Is if you're walking in a video game and a villain comes up and the music changes, but it doesn't feel like this like cut music or like it flows.
Right.
Is that something you have to know how to do, or like as a composer, like how does all that work?
It is something that we have to know the concept of how it's done. Whether we go in and actually do the coding, that's up to the composer. Some composers like to do it. Some composers don't. I like to know what the software is and what it's capable of. So, but then usually I don't do the actual coding. There's middleware,
Right, sure.
called Wise and Fmod and things like that act as like a middleware between the music and implementing it into the game. And so there's many ways to do that, what you just said. It's called adaptive music or adaptive scoring. So we'll do like intensity layers. It'll start on like something like a bass, layer that's like kind of atmospheric or whatever. And then as you get closer to the enemy, either it'll do a crossfade into another piece of music in the timeline, they're all synced up, or it'll start adding layers on top, like some drums will start creeping in, things like that. And then a melody, as you're getting closer, the brass will come in or something like that. And then when you back away from them, they'll go away, and you'll go, when you're out of harm's way, for example, it'll just go back to the atmospheric layer. That's one way to do it.
This is all right. I'm so ignorant when it comes to this stuff. Let's just look at it on a 4 count. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah.
If the guy, let's say in Metal Gear, is walking forward,
Yeah.
and he steps to where the drums are going to kick in, but he steps on a 3 beat, would it start on that 3 beat?
It could. You could have the system do it on every beat, or wait to the next bar. It really
Got it.
You have a lot of flexibility in the system to do that.
And are they telling you, like, they're like, hey, we need walking around music, villain music, like they give you a sheet of everything you need to do?
Exactly. There's a lot of times on video games, like I won't even have any video or anything like that. I'll just have concept art and then a description of what we want to achieve. And then so we're working concurrently with the developers, the artists, and things like that. And but yeah, it's a list of like, oh yeah, we need 5 walking around tracks, 5 action tracks, and then the action tracks are adaptive, so they're like different layers of intensity in the action, so they get a lot more bang for their buck. The developers and the players, it's more adaptive and interactive.
Do they ever play with the tempo associated with any of that stuff? Or you said it's all in sync or whatnot. Do they play with the tempo of stuff that you supply ever?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you can have a tempo of one track, and then it can transition to a faster tempo, another cue. I don't think it really has the ability, or maybe I'm wrong, to time stretch in real time. But there's ways to kind of manipulate a transition from a slow tempo to something faster, like when you're running away from someone, for sure.
Okay, so you get hired on this video game, and the first thing do you guys have a meeting in the beginning? They're like, this is what we're going for. These are the kind of feeling. And then do you give them samples? Like, how does that all work?
Yeah, we talk about like the direction that we want the music to go in, and then usually go into experimental mode, right? Where we're just kind of trying things out and seeing what everyone is liking, what everyone is not liking, things like that. And then, yeah, during that stage, it's the nervous stage for a composer, because I don't know if they're going to like what I'm doing. So it's like, yeah, I'm doing all this stuff that I like, but are they going to like it? And sometimes no. Sometimes like, nah, let's go back to the drawing board. Like, okay, they don't like that, so let's go in a different direction. It's very collaborative, just like films.
When you were saying that, I remember one of the notes we got. We were doing a VH1 behind the music, and it was right after we did that Tommy film. So we were in our kind of film festival mode.
Yeah.
And Brad and I, we were working on this behind the music, and we submitted it to VH1, and they're like, "This is unbelievable, just not for us. Like, dumb it down. Like, you guys are being too creative. Like, it's a paint by numbers show. Put the crying here and stuff." And then, so it's like the things that we liked, they hated. They liked them as if it was good storytelling for someone else, but
right.
So it's like, it's interesting because even if it's good, like, and I'm sure you've experienced with this, like, you could have this thing that's good, it's just not right for this.
Yeah, and I have found that 90% of the time it always turns out better. The change notes or whatever. We dwindle it down to
no comments.
You're like married to your baby, right? Like when you
right,
and then you really have to, in our business, like really separate the emotions from the work, and that's
we call it killing the babies.
Yeah,
you gotta kill your babies. Like, you can't,
they
can't be precious about things.
But they came to you because they like your style,
correct?
So, and they want you to have like an opinion about like where it wants to go, and it is your job as a composer, as an editor, to give whoever hired you something that is better than they expected, or maybe challenges what they expected a little bit. Mm-hmm.
That's interesting.
That's always the best.
When you're going through some of that creative process to come up with the things that I don't know if they're going to like it or not, do you have a particular process that you do? Like, is this like close your eyes and play things until something, clicks that you like? Or is this, I write it out first, or I hear it in my head, then make that happen? Or like, how does that work for you? Like, what's your typical process in that regard from the creative side?
I think it changes like per project. I mean, the spark of inspiration doesn't always come easy, as you know. Like, sometimes, I mean, I've been on a project where I have a spotting session with a director, and like during that meeting, like 5 minutes later, I sit at the piano and it's like there. Like I've been lucky in that situation a few times, but that's.
But you literally just go over there and just start playing stuff?
Yeah, like it's like something just immediately sparks. Like, but that's the exception. It's very few times that has happens. Usually it's banging my head against the wall or going for long walks. I have figured out some like tricks on writer's block, where you think about it like a long time, and then you have to like disassociate yourself, not think about it, and then it comes to you in the shower like the next day, right? Like your brain is still working on that problem solving thing, but then we have the thing called deadlines. So I would not write any music anymore, like if it wasn't for deadlines. Like, thank God for deadlines, because it really puts the fire under your ass.
All right, so you write this music, everyone kind of agrees, all right, this is it. Then what's the process? And by the way, going to an orchestra, I remember this was early on. I think it was probably the first time I went to LA after college when you were living out there. You were showing me these packs, these violin packs of like synth sounds that it sounds like a violin, but it was only like a real small like start and stop thing. And you were so impressed by it, and I was like, okay. Like, I don't know. I mean, like, it's cool. It seems cool. But you were like, you could write the music for a violin. So the question is, if you could do all that, why did you take it to an orchestra?
Well, the budget. I mean, if there was a budget in every project, I would always want it to go to an orchestra 90% of the time. It's just very expensive. There's definitely options. I work most of the time with Eastern European orchestras remotely, because they're the cheapest, and they're still pretty good, especially the strings, because they have such a long string and orchestra tradition over there. That's the most cost-effective ways to find these kind of remote orchestras, and a lot of composers do it nowadays.
So fill in that gap for me for what you just talked about. So you wrote some music, you created it with your own instrumentation, your synth samples, whatever you're controlling for that, to create a product that they can listen to, they like it, the people that it's their project, and then you convert that to some music, put it into all the different instruments it's going to go out to, and that's what goes over to like the remote sessions, the Eastern European people, and you go, here it is, just record this.
Usually there's a guy named a copyist, an orchestrator. You give it to the orchestrator, and then they'll take like your MIDI. Hopefully, it's clean enough that speeds it up, and then they take that and then they put it into sheet music and figure out how it's going to sound best.
Oh, cool.
With a live orchestra. Then the parts get separated out, and then it gets sent to what's called a librarian, and so that'll be like on whatever stage they have the librarian that'll print those out and put them on the stands for the players, and there you go.
And Jamie, you're writing music for like a bass, a cello, a violin.
Yeah.
Well, how do you know how to do that? That seems so crazy to me.
Years of training, I guess. I mean,
But you hear it in your head, like you hear what like a brass instrument, like what that's gonna sound like.
oh yeah, definitely. I studied orchestration and I listened to so many scores growing up, and everything from classical music. There was Rimsky-Korsakov was an amazing composer from Russia, and he wrote a book on orchestrating, one of the first real books on how to orchestrate. And so I read that like when I was in high school or something like that. And then ever since then, I would go into the libraries and just like open up the scores and be listening and looking at the scores of these classical pieces. And
Oh, you'd actually go and study the scores.
I would go study the score.
Wow.
You go study the
Okay.
scores and orchestration. And so I did a little orchestrating before I was a composer. And I was actually a music copyist right after college. Music copyist or engraver is like the person who makes the sheet music to sell to like the public, right?
Oh wow.
So like, if you want to buy a piece of, Taylor Swift songs, whatever, like somebody's got to put that into sheet music, right? So I did that like as a job right after college. And so I used to have to, even before that, write everything by hand before like the computer programs were any good.
Wow.
So yeah, I have, I guess, worked in almost every facet of music composing, all the way from, copying, orchestrating up to composing.
Do you play music for fun anymore?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Like you'll just go and sit and play just because you want to?
At my piano. Yeah, sure.
Wow.
I love it. Calming.
Can we go back to you in front of now this orchestra? You're talking about you got to conduct like
Yeah, were you shitting yourself?
Yeah, well, so there's that aspect to it too. But was there a time or when that was happening? Because this is the first time you're hearing it from these people. Like was it triggering things like, yes, that was it, or like, oh, that wasn't exactly what I thought it was going to be, or you know what I mean? Like what's going through your head?
Can you change live? Like, can you be like, oh, that didn't work, can we try something else? Like,
Yeah, you definitely can change live and have certain sections play louder, softer, even. There's sometimes little errors in whatever made it to the stage, or you just want to change a note. I mean, you could do all that kind of stuff for sure. It's great. But these musicians, like I said, are so good that they'll even like start doing that stuff before you say anything. They'll be talking to each other like this, you should play it more like legato or play it more staccato, and then they'll ask you.
They're giving you suggestions?
Yeah, sometimes.
Oh, you're such a nice guy too. I bet you listen to him. If it was me, I'd have been like, know your place.
Yeah, like the concertmaster, who's the first violinist, very often will ask you like stylistically if you mean it like this or like this. Like what kind of notes, if there's any questions, and then you work those things out on stage, and they do make a big difference in the score, for sure. One other fun fact about that, the Lost Planet, which was the huge 100-piece orchestra, is we were hired a mixer named Sean Murphy, who's one of John Williams's mixers. So that was like a huge treat for me as well. So
That's great.
Have him mixing my music like after doing a John Williams like the month before is like, wow.
That's cool. How long were you recording for?
That was just of one day.
You got it all done in one day?
Yeah, because there was only maybe 40 minutes of orchestral music for that game. So usually the benchmark is about 5 minutes per hour, depending on the complexity of the music and what style of music it is, but 5-6 minutes of music recorded per hour.
Are you watching the clock then and being like, all right, it's not 100% the way I want it, but we just got to move on?
Oh yeah, it's a rush. Like you got to move pretty fast because it's expensive.
And at the end of the day, how did you feel?
Oh, amazing. Yeah. I was exhausted, but like just so content, happy, clients loved it, and it was better than I expected for sure. And it was a rush, especially conducting. It was such a rush.
That's so good.
Yeah.
Was it more enjoyable for you in front of standing out there in front of them live, or getting to actually listen to the recording after the fact?
Definitely standing up there in front of them is the most rewarding for me. But being in the sound booth is the next best thing for sure. Just being able to hear them live at any point.
The thing that always gets to me about, and what I love about doing this podcast and talking to all these different types of professionals, is it doesn't matter what you do. It's always the same. You kind of said it in the beginning. You fake it till you make it.
Yeah.
Then once you do it once, you're like, all right, well, we can't do the same thing. We got to push it more. And you keep
Yeah.
going and keep going and keep going because you can't stay still. And I love that about especially our business.
And I love the fact that you can just get a call out of the blue of being like, oh, what are you doing? Like next month, we got this film. I've gotten those calls and they're like amazing because I'll just be like, oh man, I can't get I auditioned for like 10 jobs, I can't get it, and then I'm going, and then I book a little vacation or something. No, that's the best way to get work.
Yeah.
Just book the vacay.
Book a
Yeah.
vacation, and then they just call you like immediately. So I'm gonna book one right now.
Yeah, exactly. You're doing it all wrong. Just book one every month. You're good to go.
Let's fast forward a little bit, and because we're going to bounce around, but you wrote these 2 unbelievable scores for these Hulu hit shows.
For you, yeah.
Yeah. Talk about that. So it was interesting because you and I have, like, film budgets are not TV budgets. Film budgets are something different, and I would imagine video games are even something different. So I always was kind of like, I don't even know if I could ask you, like, is it embarrassing how low our budgets are, And you're like, no, we'll figure it out. And I always was so scared to come and be like, Jamie, let's do something. But when we, the first one was How I Caught My Killer, right? That was the first one we did?
Yeah. It was such a great experience working with you on those, man. So fun.
It blew everyone away in the sense that, like, we never had, like, lyrics written for us and, like, a whole score that we can then use the theme later on and stuff. And, man, it was killer. Well, so from our, like, forget about me and you knowing each other, but, like, what was it like? So we give you, I don't even remember what we gave you. Was it just scenes from the show?
I think, I don't even know if I had scenes or just as maybe a pitch deck or something at that point.
Okay.
I forget how far along you guys were. Maybe I did have a few scenes. But it was just like talking to you guys, and you guys kind of gave me a brief of what the show's about, and then and we talked about like lyric content, like what trying not to be too on the nose, but giving hints. I think at one point, because it's kind of a dark show, right? Like
very, very dark.
And kind of some sensitive topics, around the being about murder or whatever, and families and all that kind of stuff. So I think I wrote some lyrics that were like a little too dark at first, and you guys are like, oh, we can't say that. We gotta like tame it back a little bit. So I went in and rewrote to be a little bit more not as on the nose, right?
Yeah. Well, let's so you did that. We did 2 seasons of that, and then the other show was How I Escaped My Cult.
Right.
That to me, when I first got I think you shared it to me before we shared it with the team. You're like, hey, what do you think of this? Instantly went on my playlist. Like, it is.
Oh, nice.
Forget about it being like a dark show and with the cults and everything, but it is legitimately like a pop hit.
Yeah.
So did you go in like with that mentality, or like, I'm going to write a pop? Because you even have like the singer that's on it is amazing.
Yeah, she's a pop singer, Marion King. Yeah, I mean, I had a talk with you guys about it before starting to write that, and we all agreed that we should go more of a pop sentimentality, even more so than the last one, the How I Caught My Killer. And so I knew that I needed to. I'm a good composer. I'm not the best like producer as far as recording music. I mean, I guess I'm a little humble, about that. But I know that there's some guys that are like amazing producers, and so I needed someone that I could collaborate with, and so I found kind of a team of another producer and a great singer that we all wrote that song together.
Her voice is amazing.
And her voice is amazing, yeah. And she really hasn't blown up like I think she will in the next few years for sure.
So because of that, I started listening to some of her music, and she should blow up. I mean, there's no reason not to. And I mean, it's funny because Eric and I have been around so many musicians. We're like, why is this band or person not more famous?
Right. Yeah.
You know, it's crazy. The lyrics are great. The sound's great. Everything's there, and just for whatever reason.
I know. You never know.
One thing about the How I Caught My Killer is when we got it, like the most fun I ever have in the post-production side of things is doing opening credit scenes.
Yeah.
And that's obviously where this lived. And it's cool because the way you did it, there were so many like hits and ups and downs, and you could let a lot of things play when you have hits on things. I tell anyone who's starting off like trying to edit or whatever, pick your music first.
Yeah.
Once you get the music, everything else will come. And I'm telling you, like it was the first time I did these. It's gonna sound stupid now because so many people do it, but like these newspaper slides, and the way that your music hit, like we could do it on these like very interesting beats that you would have, and then her lyric would come on, and we would literally in the newspaper print write a lyric out. So it was cool. It was a lot of fun to experiment with, awesome, just based on your guys' music.
And you edited that one by yourself, right? Or
yeah, I only did I didn't edit the show. I just did the opening graphic scenes.
Which
that was it.
It's so cool.
Yeah, it was one of those things because like I was like, I'm not going to let anyone touch Jamie's music. Like he's basically doing us a favor anyways. Like let me, because I'll stay and get it till it's exactly how I want it, you know? Where if you hire a graphics house, they're going to be like, all right, well, the day's up. You know, here's what I got.
Right.
So I didn't want to do that.
I think you did a great job. So it's so fun that we got to collaborate because it had been 20-something years since we had really worked on that original Pure thing. And then
so when I was touring the Tommy Unger film that I did with Brad, we were going to all these festivals, and the guy who programs TIFF also programs Miami. Tom Powers, if I'm thinking of that right. So we got into TIFF, and then we get into Miami. We have this screening in Miami. We do a Q&A afterwards, and then we leave the theater. And as I'm walking out, this woman comes up to me, and she's like, I don't know if you remember me. And it was the director of that film that we did.
He told me, yeah.
20-something years later, she's like, I don't know if you remember me. Of course I knew. I was like, Susan, of course I remember you. It's like, you gave me my start.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy. And I told him that you and I still talk.
No, also about this business is it's more of a marathon than a sprint, right? So it's great that, we hadn't worked together for 20 years. Now we've worked together on 2 shows and hopefully a lot more to come.
Yeah. Well, for sure. I mean, the other thing too that we're seeing is like stock music is so overused now. Like, I mean, it's overused, but like the same library. Like the It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia theme. I'm hearing that in TV shows now. And it's just because it's stock. And it's like, how are you going to use something as iconic as an opening to a show that's been on 18 years and use it in your just normal edit? That's so weird to me.
Yeah.
So you kind of... So the whole thing is you kind of got to separate yourself and having a soundtrack that people want to listen to.
That's true.
I'm curious about something, Jamie.
Yeah.
You mentioned your favorite composer, Ennio.
He's most known for spaghetti westerns, Good, Bad, and the Ugly, Once Upon a Time in the West.
Got it. So here's my question. Because he's your favorite composer, when you're composing, if you hear something that you've done, you've put together, that in your mind goes, oh, that sounded some like them.
Yeah.
Does that make you happy or does that make you angry? Do you feel like you have to change it so that you're not doing something similar? Or do you like that ended up like organically kind of coming through in the music?
I mean, I'm definitely influenced by my favorite composers, like all the time. Like, I don't want to. If I catch myself writing something that's close to a theme, then that I have to change. Like I'm like horrified with that, Like I don't want to like cross that copyright line. So if I do get asked sometimes, write a kind of a sound alike of this score or this, and I'm very hesitant a lot of times on doing that. Sometimes it's in comedies or whatever, it's fun. Like I just did a comedy, and they go to like a Midwest town or whatever, like out in the middle of the desert. And so we did like an Ennio Morricone, like spaghetti Western, because everyone does that kind of sound, the whistling, that
Yeah.
kind of.
Yeah.
Oh, is this the thing you just released?
No, actually, that's a different whistling song.
Oh, I was gonna say because your whistling song's great.
Oh, thank you. That has a little Western vibe too, but that's a different score. But yeah, so yeah, I have no problems like doing sounds like I've done a lot of video games actually where I've had to emulate composers. So I did 2 Lord of the Rings games, so I had to really study like what Howard Shore did for those scores and how. Not just melodically, but like how it worked with instrumentation and harmonic movements and things like that. And for those games, my biggest compliment was from fans who were like, "This movie, I mean, the music sounds like it's from the Lost, Lord of the Ring film. It sounds exactly like Howard Shore, but I wasn't able to use any of the melodies specifically.
Sure,
they didn't get the rights to those, so I wrote in." In the same style, but with new melodies. And so I've done that.
That's cool.
I've done that
That's
a
incredible.
lot.
Wow.
All these franchise spin-offs,
When you're doing movies, do they give you like a temp track to use, or like are you watching
Yes.
what their edit is?
Tell us how you really feel about that.
The pain of all film composers, the temp tracks. They're great for pacing. Like you said, a lot of editors edit to temp tracks, and they'll use those for their cuts, especially in action movies and scenes like that. But then the directors or the producers get what's called temp love.
Of course.
Where they fall in love with the temp, and they're, oh yeah, you have like 1% of what Hans Zimmer had, but will you make it sound like Hans Zimmer? You have like $100. Go.
We did a show, and I want to be careful on this. I don't want to say names or anything. Someone from a really, really big band who's in the band did the score, and we didn't use it because we loved the temp track.
Got it.
Yeah, and the guy's
score?
like, what's that?
The whole score or just one song?
No, just this opening sequence, and it just was never better than the temp that we did.
Yeah.
But any decent editor can take like 4 or 5 different songs that sound the same and kind of mash them together. And especially now, like with stock, they'll give you all the stems, so you can kind of create your own thing. And that's what we did. And then when we get this music in there, and it wasn't as good, and this guy's like touring in front. Like when he was here in Texas, we went and saw him. And it's like 10,000 people in the crowd, and we're telling him like, "No, your music's not good enough for us." Yeah. Good. Like, what the hell do we know?
That happens.
So, what's your favorite part about this? About doing what you do?
I love the variety. I love not knowing really what project. I like jumping around styles. So if there's a style of music that I haven't done yet, I love exploring those things. Like I've obviously written a lot of music, but I just feel like I'm still scratching the surface of like what I want to do.
I always like the finished product. I hate the work. I hate getting up to it. It's just once it's done. I like it when it's done.
That's funny. I'm probably the opposite. I like the experience of working on the film. It's fun for me because I'm like in the world of the movie. Like I really can put myself in a trance, like to be in that world, and you're kind of living it for a few weeks, right? And then you go to see the movie on the big screen. Yeah, it's great, fun and everything, but I'm always like, I wouldn't say disappointed, but very often I'm like, oh, I should have done like this better or this better, and things like that. Like I don't love hearing my own work. Like it's fun when I'm celebrating like a movie release or something like that to be with my friends because we all worked so hard on it. But then after that is done, I'm like very often like, okay, like I got to do something new. Like let's go on to the next one. There's always that chasing that new experience.
I had this random thing pop into my head real quick, and then Rick, you can go. But I can't stand, right? So I have a passion for audio, And I can't stand when I go to a theater and the audio system is messed up. Like, I mean, maybe what all the different ways it could be, even including a blown speaker, right? And I can't have you. Could there be anything worse than going to a premiere or something you've done? You're actually part of it. It drives me crazy not even having anything to do with this. Just as an observer, have you had any experiences where you've gone and the sound was bad in the space that you were listening?
Unfortunately, yes. And sometimes, it's the theater, and sometimes it's actually the mix, whatever. I'm like, why are the sound effects so loud? Why, why is the music pushed here to heighten the emotion? Like there's no dialogue here. Like, let's crank the music up, And so sometimes I don't have the privilege of being on the stage and having my input, because that always helps to either me be there or maybe a music editor be there on my behalf and do those kind of tweaks, But it's not always like about making the music louder. I just want to make the film as cinematic experience, like audibly, as we can. And oftentimes I'll say in these sessions, like, let's duck the music down. It's like, it's distracting. Like, let's bring it down or take it out here. Like, let's with silence.
So I'm guessing Rick prepped you for kind of the premise here, right? Like some sort of like defining moments or something along those lines.
Other than meeting me, what is the defining
we're having
moment?
to work with you.
That first day, I'm sure. No, I mean, but to be honest, that was a defining moment. That was like my first.
Don't do that to him.
Come on, Jamie.
But is there something that stands out like along in your career or something that you feel is some sort of a defining moment for you?
It's more of a series of like smaller like things that happens, and we went over some of them in this thing. For when I got into video game music, which is my first like real composing style that I was paid for, right, to get into. Mm-hmm. Like I walked into I had played video games growing up, and Mario Brothers and Zelda, and that's great and everything. But those old Nintendo systems were like bleeps and bloops and
8-bit music, baby.
Which, by the way, side note, my favorite game of all time was Metal Gear.
Oh, really? The original. But then anyway, so I was more interested in doing orchestral music. That's why I was kind of drawn to film scores, traditional kind of scoring. So I kind of shied away from like wanting to work in video games because I thought that it was like at that level. And so when I was like in Miami, I stopped playing video games because I just didn't have any time, right? Or I would play like some FIFA once in a while, but other than that, I wasn't really keeping up with the gaming, right? But meanwhile, the gaming like technology was improving so fast, and the budgets, that I didn't realize that they had started like hiring real orchestras and having the bandwidth for like real audio instead of the chip tunes. And so I met a composer in LA. I walked into his room and he was like, "Oh, check out what I'm doing for this video game." And I was like blown away that it was like real orchestra sounding samples. Like the technology, even in the composing stuff for sample libraries and things like that, had advanced so far. And then I was like, okay, if you could do that, like, all right, I want to try video games out. So I was fortunate enough to kind of start writing additional music for him, and then the rest is history.
Wow, that's awesome.
Was there ever a moment where you didn't know if this was going to be a career path for you or not?
Not really. It was always, I was always told to have a plan B, right? And that's why I went to, a liberal arts college, whatever, but I always really just wanted to be a composer. It was from like high school is like when I kind of made that decision. Going back to jazz, I was a jazz piano player like in high school. I remember, playing at gigs a lot, and just really like thinking like maybe I want to pursue being like a jazz pianist, right? And then this one kid came over to my house. We were having like a jam session, and this kid like just blew me out of the water. Like he was shredding on the piano. I was so depressed after that day. I was like, and he was like a year younger than me or something like that. And I decided that day, I was like, I'm quitting. Like I cannot pursue this anymore because like this guy is like so leagues above me. So then I was like, okay, what else? I kind of like composing, like maybe I could be a composer. So then that kind of shifted away from wanting to be like a musician, like making my living being a musician, to wanting to be a composer. And yeah, on one like little personal story, my dad was a rock and roll bass player in the 70s. And so he played in a lot of, he did the whole thing. He's from the Midwest, and he moved out to LA with his band to make it on the Sunset Strip. Like they chose like a day and time, like to meet on like Sunset and Vine, like as a band. And they all did that. And then they tried to give it a go, like in the Hollywood rock scene, right, in the 70s. Wow. And so I was kind of born into music, with that. But his bands, like he was never in the right place at the right time with the right bands. Like I have a cassette like that he has in his like his little garage, like, studio thing. It's from Steve Perry, who came to see my dad play like in one of his bands at the time, and was like, come, we're looking for a bassist for our band. This is before Journey, whatever. And so he was like, come audition for us like next week. And my dad like had something, he had to go somewhere for another gig. And then like 2 weeks later, Steve gets called into Journey. And so that didn't happen. So it was always there's a series, I guess, of these near misses. Wow. That my dad never broke through. And one other thing that he told me was, he did a lot of mostly covers. Like all these bands did mostly covers to, play at bars and things like that. So he was very, very adamant. He's like, don't ever play other people's music. You can't make a living at that. So that was stuck in my head as well, to become a composer. I was like,
it's almost like it's a defining moment.
That was almost a defining moment. Yeah. Almost. Yeah.
That's amazing.
It definitely was. Yeah.
That's the other thing too, that it's so hard to explain to people how much luck plays into any of this.
Yes.
We touched on it in a couple different ways, right? Like in terms of, I don't know why that person hasn't made it, or you just said, with your dad, like that there were these near misses or whatnot. There's so many. I mean, of course, there's the hard work and there's the dedication and there's the all those types of things. But then certain things need to align often in order for something to happen. Whatever that scenario is, you're walking by the one room and you decide you're going to stop and talk to that person, and it can literally change the trajectory, right? Yeah. A single moment, a single decision, of making it or not, or I don't know, being able to do it or not.
It really can, but you got to be prepared, like, for those situations to arise. You have to
100%.
put in your own hard work, and then you got to get yourself into the room. Like somehow you got to be open for that and be around. Like go to these, like if I want to work with directors, I need to go to film festivals. And 2 years ago, I decided I always wanted to go to Cannes Film Festival, but with a film. I was like, I'm not going to go till I get a film in there so we can go all together. But then I was just like, I had an opportunity to stay with a group of people in like a villa. And so I was like, oh, F it. Let's just go and network. And it turned out to be great. I'm working with a really awesome director on a Western film right now. Shot in Texas. It's called Once Upon a Time in Texas. The guy's name is Tanner Beard, and he's awesome. And so we hit it off just meeting at a bar on the way to the Cannes Film Festival.
There's more whistling in your future.
Yeah, lots more whistling.
I always say that luck will get you a gig, but skill will get you a career.
Oh, that's a good one.
You can write that on a tattoo, Jamie, if you would, and just get that all up on the arm.
Stealing that one from you.
Jamie, I can't thank you enough for doing this.
Thank you, guys.
We love you. It's amazing. I know your career and stuff, but it's cool to actually hear the kind of little behind the scenes of how you got a lot of these things.
That's fascinating.
You got to get Jeff on your show.
Well,
man, we've tried.
It hasn't been from lack of trying, but I think this question may get him on. In all honesty, and I know how humble you are, so I don't know if you'll answer this honestly. Who's a better musician, you or Jeff?
That is hilarious. It's definitely Jeff.
See? I don't know.
Jeff, we're going to have you on to really dive into this further. Figure it out.
Yeah. Because I keep telling Jeff, like, that we have to work on your stuff together. Like, so we put the band back together. Like, Jeff and I, you got to get something where Jeff and I could do like a funk jazz score. Like, if you have anything like that, like something Dave Grusin-y, like Jeff and I we got to do that.
I'm sending you a sizzle today that if this show goes 100%, it'll be up your alley.
Okay. We have to do that. We would have so much fun. We got to get a live jazz funk bands and bring it all together. Yeah.
That would be awesome. Yeah. All
Thank
right,
you, guys.
Jamie, we're going to let you get back to your Saturday.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Yeah.
You guys have a great one, and we'll talk soon. Thanks, guys.
Thanks,
All right,
buddy.
thanks, Jamie. Jamie Christopherson, bringing it.
That's fun, man. I could have asked them 1,000 questions.
Dude,
I know I was jumping in with a lot
one
of
of those
stuff,
things
but
where like an hour's not enough. Like it's not enough time. Like I want to go through.
Yeah.
Like you started off great. Like how did you get into it and started talking about movie scores and stuff? Like it's hard to like. I want to talk about our movie scores that you and I used to listen to and like what moved us and what got us into things.
I know. We jumped off it pretty quick, but
we should do an episode about music.
We could do scores though. We could do an episode of we could rank our. It's funny. I forgot how much you loved the True Romance soundtrack.
True Romance,
but you always had that around on CD. It was always
good.
Yeah, I forgot how much you loved that. So many things just kept popping into my head. So it was really fun to hear him, talk about a lot of things.
I honestly could have spent 1 hour, literally 1 hour, talking about him scoring the video game and then taking it all the way through to the orchestra and stuff.
100%.
And then, we didn't get into, all right, so you get all this. What happens next? Like, what are you out of the process at that point?
Totally. I agree. I had very similar thoughts. That I just didn't want to keep diving in further and further. Because what is your process for actual composition of the music you were creating from are you triggering on your keyboard all your synths, all your sounds? There's a French horn for crying out loud that's going to be in the orchestra. Are you triggering that from your keyboard? Are you like all that? Or is this just, you just do it, draw it in on your computer? Like I was going so many ways in my head that I was
and how much different is that? Like, you play it for these people and they're like, so then if they're like, why go take it to an orchestra? Why spend that money?
Yeah. And it does. And you did sort of touch on that, but we didn't get to elaborate on it. Like, does it add that much more? But it does.
But
like,
it clearly does.
Yeah. Of course.
But I wonder if the average listener feels
that's something different. Yeah. That's you just went commercial. Congratulations. So that's the business owner. Ugh. God, you suck.
Yeah.
My budget can't afford that. I totally get it. Anyway, I feel like this is good. This is fun. I feel like we're done. Are we done? Doom.